Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make poppy seed muffins, and this is what they look like. As you can see, lots of poppy seeds, and they're wonderfully dense and moist. Nice lemon flavor in the muffin, plus when the muffins come out of the oven, we're going to brush them with a lemon glaze. So the first thing you will need to do is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius. And as you can see, I have a 12-cup muffin pan. I've just lined mine with paper liners. You could also just lightly butter your muffin cups or spray them with one of those non-stick sprays. So the first thing you will need to do is poppy seeds are not easy to digest. So what I like to do at least a half hour before you start making your batter is to take 1.5 tablespoons of poppy seeds, which is 15 grams, and then I just put them in about 1/4 cup, 60 milliliters of hot water, and just let them sit. That will soften them, make them much easier to digest, and I've done that beforehand. And so what I'm going to do now is I just have a strainer over a bowl. I'm just going to put them in the strainer, get rid of that water. Now you don't have to, if you don't find poppy seeds bother you, then you don't have to do this step, but I think it's worth it. So there we go. And I'm just going to put that aside, let that drain. And then there is a lemon flavor to the poppy seed muffins. So what I've done is in a bowl, I have 1 cup, which is 200 grams of granulated white sugar. So what I have is 1 large lemon. Always wash your lemons first. And then I'm just going to, I'm using a microplane. You could just use a box grater. I'm going to grate the lemon zest. That's just the outer yellow skin. You don't want to grate the white underneath because that's kind of bitter, which we don't want. And the zest is so nice because that's where a lot of the flavor of the lemon is. So why waste it? Now keep your lemon after you do the zesting because, like I said, we are going to brush the tops of our baked muffins with a lemon glaze, so we will be using the juice later. Okay. So now just put that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just taking a fork and I'm going to kind of mush it into the sugar. And that kind of, as you can see, the zest tends to clump, and we don't want clumps of zest in our batter. Be a little too bitter. So if you mix it into the sugar with a fork here, kind of solves that problem. Plus, the sugar will absorb all the wonderful juices from that zest. So it gives your muffins even more of a lemon flavor than if you didn't do this step. So now, if you have an electric stand mixer like I have here, use your paddle attachment. You could use a hand mixer for this. And the first thing you will need is 1/2 cup, which is 113 grams of butter. Have it at room temperature. I'm using unsalted. I prefer the flavor. You can use salted. So I'm just going to beat that just until it gets nice and smooth. Okay. And as always, when you're making a batter, scrape down the sides and the bottom of your bowl as much as you need to make sure everything gets all mixed together. So now I'm going to add my sugar. Mix that up a bit. And then we're going to beat this on medium-high speed. We want to get some air into our batter. So medium-high speed till it's light and fluffy. You know, that can be, depending on your mixer, somewhere between 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. It lightens in color, we've got lots of air in there, which helps give us a lighter texture to our muffin. So now you will need 2 large eggs, and have your eggs at room temperature. And I'm going to add one at a time. And I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of pure vanilla extract for flavoring. So I'm just going to beat that in. And the second one. Okay, that looks good. Scrape down. Okay, so now you will need 1 cup, which is 240 milliliters, 240 grams. I'm using a plain full-fat yogurt. You could also use sour cream. And what I'm going to do is just take our poppy seeds that we've drained. They say poppy seeds have a nutty flavor, but you know, they're so tiny. I find I don't taste the poppy seed that much, but what it does is I love the look of the little black seeds in the batter. So they are just... I'm just going to add that. Okay. And we'll beat that in. Okay. So now for our dry ingredients. In a separate bowl, I have 2 cups, which is 260 grams of all-purpose flour. You may know that as plain flour. And to that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking powder, a half a teaspoon, 2 grams of baking soda, and a quarter of a teaspoon, 1 gram of salt. I prefer the kosher salt. It's a little milder in flavor than table salt, either one. Now, if you used salted butter, then I would just leave that salt out. So, okay, I'm just going to add that. Now, when you start your mixer started on low speed here, you don't want that flour coming up. And I'm just going to beat it in. Okay, that looks good. So let's move that out of the way. That wasn't too bad. Now this is not your typical muffin batter where you just mix all the ingredients together. It is more like a cake batter, how you would make that. Actually, I find these muffins, you call them little, I guess you'd call them cupcakes, kind of. The lines between those two are blurred. But this tastes a lot to me like a little pound cake. So good. So I'm just going to make sure all my flour is mixed in. Oh, that looks good. And then now what we're going to do is evenly divide the batter between the cups. I find for this amount of batter about 1/3 of a cup, which is 80 milliliters, 80 grams of batter. I've just got a large ice cream scoop here. It's about 1/3 of a cup. You could just use 2 spoons. And spoon in like so. Okay, so that's our last one. That in there. Okay. So now, everyone's oven is a little different. We don't want them overbaked. I would say somewhere between 18 and 20 minutes. It's always good to check them a couple minutes before that. They will rise, they will turn nice golden brown, and a toothpick inserted into the center will come just out clean. So 18, 20 minutes. So while our muffins are baking, we're going to make our lemon glaze. So you will need a small saucepan. You could also just do this in the microwave, but you will need 1/4 cup, 50 grams of granulated white sugar, and just put that in there. And then we need some lemon juice. So our lemon that we used before, so cut it in half, and then if you have one of these juicers, the juice. And then what I've done is taking a measuring cup with a little strainer, because we want to get rid of if there's any seeds, which there is, and pulp. And you will need about 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. I think I'll have enough. That's usually, you know, a large lemon will typically give you, let's hope. But I have another one standing by in case. So I'm just going to measure that out. It's about right. So now what I'm going to do, really all we're going to do is heat this up over medium heat just until the sugar dissolves. So if you want, it's just as quick, maybe quicker, you could do this in the microwave. I would do it in like 20-second blasts in your microwave. Take it out, give it a stir, and then put it back in if you need to. Okay, that looks good. Let's take it off the heat, and you can see, I'll just pour it right in here so you can see it. It's just, you just want your sugar to be dissolved, like that. So just put that aside, because as soon as those muffins come out of the oven, we're going to brush them with that lemon glaze. Okay. Okay, our poppy seed muffins are done. Starting to brown, and a toothpick insert in the center, comes out clean. So now, I've just put my pan on a wire rack. So just take a pastry brush with our glaze and a nice liberal brushing. And what I like is not only does it impart a really nice extra lemon flavor to the muffin, it's also going to keep them nice and moist, so they store, you know, pretty well. I'll just do that, and then I'm just going to let them cool, and when we come back, we will try one. Okay, so now let's try one. Let's take the paper off here. They're still warm. Okay, let's break it open. Look at that. Wonder, it's really moist. All those poppy seeds, so let's try a piece. Oh, the lemon flavor really comes through because you got the zest, and then the lemon glaze on top, I think just adds that little extra to these muffins. And, oh, very nice. They do store very well, and probably 2-3 days, or you can even freeze them. So try these. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of JoyBaking.com.